Hey folks, Lindsay Huddleston back in the building, another SPS Mental Health Moment. And I have the best job in the world because I get to interview great people, but more importantly, I get to catch up with my friends, childhood friends who are doing their thing, and we get to talk on a platform that is for us, by us, to impact others. And I have none other than author, playwright, executive, restaurant mogul. The list goes on and on. My good friend, Mr. Dennis Reed II. Brother, how are you doing today?
I'm good, man. You made me sound like I'm rich or something.
Hey, you know what? I know you. We've had our conversations. You say you ain't rich. That's because you be making them big moves, them six-figure deposits here and there to cover things. You like Dame Dash. You keep it all in the streets, right?
Yeah, I'm moving away from the Dame Dash way though.
You getting away from that?
Yeah, I kind of walked away from that part of it. I kind of like corporate life.
You like that corporate life? We want to talk about that. I saw your recent post. We were talking offline a little bit, and this is what I was thinking about leading up to this time to sit down with you. And shout out to our Henry Ford family. And we'll talk about how we came up being basketball guys and under Coach Carter and just having that experience. But like I was saying, man, you need to get a contract with Under Armour because under need to be your prefix, underrated, undervalued, underappreciated. And like I said, you LeBron James in the finals, everybody just expect you to be there, meaning you've been putting in work, Dennis, for so long as an entrepreneur, a business mogul, that I think that it's very easy for people to undervalue your contribution and what you do because it's like, oh, I was talking to somebody a second ago, Clarence Barbour. He's like, oh, what is Dennis doing? He's doing another play? I'm like, no, he's doing movies. But just people are so used to you in this space, but it's not a space that you just sign up for. You had to scratch and claw. So talk about what me saying that to you means to you as we get ready to get this thing started.
It's funny because I just basically signed a deal that's going to make me a lot of money. And it's like people think that it's an overnight process. Like literally, I started writing books in 2005, and from 2005 to 2020, 15 years trying to be better every year and losing a lot of money, and still being able to make my dream happen, if that makes sense.
It makes sense.
It's like when you look at a G League basketball player, you don't know their story. It's like they was decent in high school, they was okay in college, but they had a dream to say, yo, I just want to keep on playing this sport. Then they get to the G League, then they go overseas, then they come back to the G League, then somebody get hurt in the NBA, and then they get a 10-day contract, they do good with the 10-day contract, then they ship them back down to the G League, somebody else get hurt, then somebody get into it with their wife, and then they come back to the NBA, and that's they on like 10 NBA teams and making good money, but you didn't know that his wife left him because he was following his dream. His kids felt like he was a deadbeat father because he couldn't come to every dance recital, and that's basically the journey that I went through. You know what I mean? And everything looks good when you have the big car, the big house, the restaurants, the bars. They like, oh, that's good. But if you really just knew the back end of the story, you're like, yo, like my friends, that's my friends that have been there from day one, they get it. It's like, yo, we like Lee, I always say like Lee Master, Spratland, and Velda Hunter are two people that been with me for so long and seen all the whole journey and never talked bad about me. And that's why they still with me. And it's like, it's amazing, and it's a blessing, because it was nights where I'd be sitting downtown at the water like, yo, I don't know if I want to do this. I don't know if I'm being a good dad. I don't know, like, if I'm being a good dude to my girl. I don't know. I don't know nothing. I just know that I'm following a dream, and if everybody stay on board, they would eat off this dream.
Yeah, do that. Let's go back to some of the amazing things you said early on. And I want to thank you for getting out there first as the first author that I knew personally. And I want to thank you for the advice. I don't even know if you remember the advice you gave me on my first book. You're like, man, when you write, don't even worry about structure. just write. And I remember that was so helpful, and I actually passed that advice on to someone else. And you know, I just finished my second book, The SPS Edge, and thank you for getting a copy. It's on the way to you, to that address you sent, A Guide to Mental Toughness in Sports and Life Post-COVID-19. And I appreciate that advice you gave. But let me ask you this question, Dennis. I played ball with you. I know how you would get down. You had them hops, would get up out the gym and was fearless. But what gave you the nerve to say, coming out of the west side of Detroit, coming from where we came from, dealing with what we dealt with, what gave you the nerve to say, I'm going to write a book, I'm going to put on a play, I'm going to make a movie, I'm going to go into the corporate world? I mean, I'm going to have my stuff in Redbox, I'm going to do stuff with Jim Jones and hoops. Like, what gave you the nerve to say you're going to do all this?
6 bullets. It was like, you know, when I left Henry Ford, I went to college, and like a lot of other people, you always say what you want to be, but it's not really what you want to be, because you only want to be what the cool thing is to be. So, like with you, I remember everybody thought Lindsay was gonna be the next president of the United States.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I didn't never like basketball. Basketball was not my thing. It was just something that I knew how to do okay.
Right.
I like volleyball more, you
Right.
know? So it was like the ship study doing basketball, you know? But because I'm from the west side of Detroit, by way of New York, you know, I didn't know nobody in New York that played volleyball. I didn't know anybody in Detroit that played volleyball that wasn't on my team or my AAU team, you know? So I was messed up anyway, because basketball was cool. Volleyball was the girl thing to do, you know what I mean? And that's kind of what's messed up with our community, because we don't show our kids anything other than basketball, football, being a rapper. We don't show them how to own a basketball team, how to own a football team. We don't show them how to be an executive. We don't show them how to be an agent. We don't show them that. We just say either you're gonna do this or you're a bust. Either you're gonna be a rapper, but you leave out the person that owns the doggone record label.
Right.
You know, we leave them people out because we don't teach our kids that. So I remember going to college, and I'm like, I met this school, and I'm like, what do I want to be? You know, what do I want to be? What did I want to be? And I'm like, forget, I'm gonna be on light science. You know, so how to be a doctor and I don't even like science. You know, but it was the cool thing to say.
Right.
So you go and you try to get this degree in biology, and you know, it's not what you want to do. You know, but being on the west side of Detroit, my dad was not there at that time, and my mom was a single mom with 5 kids. I didn't have a mentor or another person to talk to me and say, well, what do you want to do? What do you want to be?
Right.
You know, so when I came home, I worked for a second, then I started selling drugs. And I remember thinking like a lot of people didn't know what I'm doing, but I ended up catching a felony, so I couldn't get a real job like I wanted.
That
You know,
locked you out of mainstream economy.
that locked me out of a lot of stuff. You know, then I'm like, well, what's next? And I just remember my mom always saying, if you sell drugs, you're gonna either go to jail, be dead, or use them. And are you there?
I'm here. I got your audio, but you were froze for a minute, but I've been hearing you the whole time, and now I see you just fine.
Yeah. So it was just like, caught the felony, and I was like, what I'm gonna do now? And I still kept on selling dope. Like, then it was like April 20th. You know, I was going to do a deal with Buddy, and he put 6 bullets. And I remember when he put the gun in my face, he like, yo, you know, and he pulled the trigger on no more bullets in there. and I was just all God. It had nothing to do
He
with
was
me.
trying to end your life right then.
But he ended up saving my life. He didn't even get that. Like, it was like when it all happened, the organization that I was with, the feds was on them at the time. And I didn't know that. But when he shot me up, it put me in the hospital for 30 days. And the people that I was dealing with all got indicted. My name went on an indictment list because I took this guy and had him sit me down and then take my life. And then it was like, you know what? I sat in that hospital for 30 days, and I just remember my son coming in there, and he was just like, Dad, the only thing I want you to do is stop selling drugs. At that moment, it hit me because he never seen drugs. He never been around drugs. He never smelled drugs. He never even seen me do anything. But I'm pretty sure he heard, you
Right.
know, and it's like, yo, what do you do? Like, so I wrote a book. And when I wrote the book, it was just like, it didn't take off quick, you know.
Right.
It was just like every day going into the salons and trying to sell a book, because you heard Michael Baza was going into book salons, hair salons and selling books. And
What was that like trying to get people to support you when they can easily just, shoot you down that quick?
well, you got way more no's than you got yes. But that's life. And everything you do, like, you're always gonna get no's until you become that person. So now if I go in there and try to sell some books in the salon, I will sell 1,000 books in 1 week, without a problem, you
Wow.
know. But now it's like I can't even go into a salon and even think about selling books because of what my brand is now, you know.
What do you mean
And
by that? Talk about that a little bit more.
because my brand won't allow me. Like, I'm not, like, my grind is now making the moves that I need to feed 100 people instead of just feeding one. And if I go into
Wow.
that salon, I'm just feeding me and my family. I'm
Oh,
not
that's heavy.
feeding these other people. Now, the difference between Dennis in 2005 is I was just worried about me, Donita, Cameron, Justin, Marcel, Jasmine. And Jasmine was really an afterthought because she was my daughter that didn't live with
Right.
me, you know. But now it's like I have to feed me, I have to feed Misha, I have to feed Mikhail, I have to feed Country, I gotta feed Vaughn, I gotta feed Pam. I'm feeding people, I'm feeding families, and you know it's not all about me no more. It stopped being about me years ago. You know, like I went into business with a friend from high school. The business didn't go well. Then you lose a friend. You know, and it taught me a lot. Like that experience taught me a lot that what's money to you ain't money to me. You lose 20,000, I lose 300. So I had to be man enough to think like that 300 hurt me and that 20 hurt him just as much as that 300 hurt me.
Oh,
It's just
real
a
good.
different hurt. Like, just because I had 300 that I lost doesn't negate that he lost 20 that hurt him. You know? So it's like, damn, the business go bad. And that's the thing about being from where we're from. We don't know we don't know the difference between a person scheming you and a business not working.
Mm-hmm.
Because when a business don't work, it just didn't work. But we always say, well, he schemed me out of this. And it's just all a learning thing. Like with the movies, people think that you make millions and millions of dollars off movies. But the movie that made millions and millions of dollars are backed by millions and millions of dollars. Like your book, for example, you know, it's little stuff about it. Like right now, you on Instagram, Facebook, friends, advertising your book like that. But if you took $100,000 and did advertising on that book, you would make $1 million quick. But those are keys that we're not taught.
Right.
Like businesses that are successful because of advertising.
Right. You know it.
We don't teach that. We teach you to open up a business and struggle for, they say, back.
Here, you broke up a little bit. Repeat that part. Repeat that part.
I said that we are taught that you open up a business and you would get your money back in 7 years. That's when you break even, right? White people, Middle Eastern people, people with business backgrounds don't think like that. They say, I'm going to get my money back in less than a year because I'm going to advertise this place and make my money back. We're not taught that. We're not taught advertising. You know, so when we do our expenses, we're not putting advertising in our budget.
Yeah.
You know, we don't even a lot of times have a budget. We just go free willy with it. You know.
Then let me stop you right there on this note, because what you're talking about is a unique experience of African Americans in business. But I want to go back to the beginning part of that. Tell me what it's like, because we are from a very unique place, no like any place in the world, being from Detroit. And it helps us in so many ways. But talk about the challenges from being from Detroit. And maybe you've grown beyond that. Maybe I've grown beyond how hard it is sometimes to break out of the mental prison that can be part of how we are as Detroiters, being fearful of sharing our dreams, goals, and aspirations, because it can be so negative and toxic. Does that make sense the way I'm posing that?
Because we feel like people are gonna hate on us.
Come on, man. You already know what I'm trying to say.
You know, but that's because you gotta surround yourself around like-minded people.
Okay.
You know, like I tell people all the time, like if you want to be a billionaire, hang around billionaires. A dude that work at the plant that make $100,000 to think he's rich, he's working his butt off. He's working on them holidays. That dude that's making that $1 billion, his work is a lot easier. He makes a lot more money. And he take vacations with his family. He enjoy life.
Why does that formula not make sense? I believe you, but why does that formula seem like it doesn't make sense? Why does that formula seem opposite, irregular, or backwards?
Because you're looking at the two different mentality of people.
Okay, come on, man. Come on.
Like the plantation.
Yeah.
They are nothing but high school people with high school educations that gossip still and act still like they're in high school. They don't see anything past that. And the ones in there that do see past that end up being the successful people that leave there or become management there. And then they call you acting white or you think you better. Yeah, I'm better. I'm better because you just told me I was better when you told me you think I'm better.
Hold on, stop, Dennis. You say you think you acting while you think you better, and you gave a response nobody was waiting for you to get. Nobody expected. You said, yeah, I am better, because you just told me I was. You told me I was better. So, yeah, I accept that. I am, because of the moves I'm making.
Because of what I'm doing. And when you be around billionaires, they telling you how to make more money and how to do it easier, how to invest, how to buy a picture, how to buy property. Those are the conversations y'all having. When you at the plant, you having a conversation about who's sleeping with who, how you can sleep with this person, how you could go out and drink all day or go to the next cabaret. You know, rich people party harder than anybody. They have a great time, but they do it on a different level than what you're going to do it on. It's funny. I told somebody this about a month ago. You have two kind of people in your life. People that want to see you make it and people that don't. And once you understand that as long as you know you're going to make it, the people that don't want you to make it don't even matter to you. And when you got them people that want you to make it, they be your food. They be, man, I just lost $10,000. Baby, don't worry about it. Let me tell you what, let me help you do this. And we ain't talking about money. It's just encouraging words, because that's what we lack. We lack that in our community.
The support.
Yeah, we lack, like, you could tell somebody, very simple, you could tell somebody, no, better yet, I could promote your book for free, and you may sell 10 books, and that didn't cost me a dime.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you look at my page right now, I just promoted somebody's movie that ain't even in my camp. I said, tap into another Detroit love story. Mm-hmm. Why did I do that? Because that person is another movie maker. The more movies that we got coming from here, the better Detroit is. The more authors we got coming from here, better Detroit is. Because now we are teaching our kids that you don't have to do just basketball.
So it seems right there, if I could, Dennis, you have a abundance mindset as opposed to a lacking mindset, because you didn't look at it as, well, if I promote you, that's going to take away from what I'm trying to do, as opposed to saying, oh, if I can promote you, that's better for what I got. So it's all about mindset.
Man, yeah, because I met a guy named Shannon Holmes who wrote the book, Be More Careful.
More Careful.
Yeah, he wrote Be More Careful and Bad Girls. He's like an icon in urban lit. He's iconic. And he made one of the most powerful statements to me ever. He was like, why wouldn't I tell people about your book? I only bring out a book every 3 or 4 years. They got a whole lot of time to read. So I'm going to eat regardless if you eat or not. And that's how I think. Like, I don't look at it like you're a competition for me. I look at it like, if you making $1 million or $1 billion or $1 trillion, you one person I could call for advice. You're one person I could call and say, how did you get that? Like the guy from Moolah Films, he's really like that. You know, he's one of them kind of people like, yo, man, do this. He helped me with advertising. Like, you see all the promo right now that say, who is Jonathan Carter? That's me looking at him for the last 2 years being one of the best advertising people I know. And then I brought on my cousin who had the degree from one of the top business schools. You know, he's been on Black in America. This dude is phenomenal. Mm-hmm. So I bring him on to help me with advertising. And then we end up out of nowhere getting with the guy that started Vibe magazine and another guy that did movies like Belly and all that other stuff. And now we formed a company. You know what I mean? Wow. And now I have 3 businessmen that are straight some of the top business minds in America, making my little artsy self better.
Right. You know, with that right there, you're a humble guy, but can we just talk about your catalog so our viewers can get an understanding? If you can rattle off from your books to your movies to your new corporate moves, and definitely talk about Indictment 2, I believe that's coming out. Who is Jonathan Carter, if I'm saying it correctly? So kind of get us up to date with what your catalog has been.
So book-wise, I did He Said, She Said. I did over 100,000 copies. I did True Law 1 and 2. I did like 50,000 pieces. I did I'm From the D with some people from Detroit, and Soaking Wet with some people from Detroit. I don't really know those numbers. Plays, I did He Said, She Said, Caught Up and Confused, Cheaters. I thought I had a shirt on. Cheaters.
Shout out to Plugged In Will. Plugged In Will. You rocking that?
Yeah, I always rock this stuff. but I did like 7 plays and traveled nationally. Then I did True Law was my first movie. I came back and did I Declare with a television series. Then I did a movie called Indictment, but I didn't like it, so I released it. Um, then I did First Lady 1 with Hoops and Jim Jones. Then I did First Lady 2 with Hoops and KDZ was in both. D. Master Spratlin was in both. This one also had Young Dro in it and had Yada in it. Then I did I just redid Indictment. That's about to come out. I started filming He Said, She Said, the movie that I think is gonna be dope. I started filming that on the 25th. And then we do First Lady 3 in August, and then I start the St. Clair's.
Okay. And before we get to how people can find out more about those, I want to go back to something you said and something I actually experienced. When you redid movies, there's a cost to that. So basically you had to decide to eat that, right? Mm-hmm. For the sake of your brand and what you want to do. Talk about bossing up and making that decision, not just to do the movie, but to eat something so you can come back and bring it back. And what went into that decision and why you think people should do that when necessary.
You know, when you a cook and you about to feed 1,000 people and you eat it on taste right, are you gonna put that food out? Nah.
But Dennis, you spent all the money on the oregano, on the basil, on this pasta. I mean, that's gonna cut into your profits. That's gonna throw your timeline off. There's so many reasons why you can just put it out there.
We're not put it out there and it's trash and then nobody talking about me anymore. And you don't want to put out trash. Like it's easy just to put it out. Yo, here, take it. I'm done with it. And then people like, he fell off. Like, I look at, like, the people that I love is like Jay-Z. The reason why I love Jay-Z, number one, he's a sex like me, but it's funny because we can't say that any of his albums sucked. We can't say that, you know? And I just keep on hearing him like, treat your first like your last and your last like your first. Like, it's in my head. Treat your first like your last and your last like your first. Like, I need all my stuff to be hot. Right. You know, right. Then you look at Will Smith, like you say, God, this went from being a rapper to being on a TV series to being one of the biggest movie stars ever. And that's because he worked on his craft. Then you look at Denzel, you never nothing bad about Denzel. You always see Denzel making these characters him. Those are people that I look like, yo, like being.
We lost Dennis for a second. It's a lot of rain in my area and maybe his, but he's going to pop back. This is Lindsay Huddleston with SPS Sports Psychology Solutions. Got my guy Dennis Reed II, you know, media mogul off the west side of Detroit. We both are Henry Ford High School Trojans. Henry Ford Hustlers is what I call it. So just stand by for a second. Had a little technical dip. Don't worry, Dennis. We had a little difficulty. I kept it rolling. I did a little commercial for you. And right back at it. So you were talking about treating your first like your last and your last like your first.
Yeah, it's like you watching these great people, man, from Denzel to Jay to Will Smith do it the right way, you know, and it makes you want to be better. Like I do, like I have this thing, like I don't want none of you people to be better than me. Like I see your book and I'm happy about your book. I bought your book. I'm gonna tell people about your book. Guess what? I want to write a book better than yours still.
I get it.
And that's nothing against you. I just want to be better. Like I want to be the best writer ever. Not the best Black writer, not the best urban writer. I want to be the best writer ever. That's how I think. That's what I want. That's what's going to happen. You know, it's like when you look at. Did you ever read the book? I think. Oh my God! I know I told you about it. Relentless. Did you ever read that?
Yeah, but that was the trainer for. Right. Yeah, Michael Jordan's trainer.
Right. So
be over here.
I told you about it, right?
Yeah.
So I had Cameron reading it. I had the whole Ferndale basketball team reading it, right? And I remember last year when Simon left and went to Ipsy Lincoln with Amani, right? In that book, it tells you that it's three kind of people, right? So it was coolers, closers, and cleaners, right? And it's so funny because when I look at our basketball team that we were on, right? So you had Mo, who was this imposing force.
Maurice Taylor,
right?
University of Michigan,
right?
NBA journeyman, did his thing for several years.
Right. He was this imposing force. But imagine if Maurice had Marco Hammond's work ethic and attitude.
I don't know what that would look like. That would look like an NBA Hall of Famer.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. And that's no slight to Maurice, obviously. Who started playing when he was like a sophomore.
Exactly. Like, but if
Marco was a savage for real, though.
If he had Marco attitude with the toughness, the willing to want to be better, that I'm better than you. If Maurice had that, no, Maurice was more athletic than Chris Webber. He could do well, but Chris had a dog in him that a lot of people don't get. So when I look at people like Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, Dwayne Wade, they're different. So like we talked about how with Dwayne Wade, he had to really dumb down his game a little bit for LeBron James, for them to win the championship. Get it. Did was he did a good thing. He was like, okay, I already know. I know I'm, but now let me show LeBron how to win. That's a real friend, by the way.
Right.
Let me show Chris Bosh how to win. Dog, like when you able to, Isaiah Thomas, when you are able to show people how to win and make people better, like I love Michael Jordan, but Scottie Pippen, he made Scottie Pippen better. He pushed Scottie Pippen. But when I look at people like Isaiah Thomas and D. Wade,
he made them better by default. They became better just because, not because of a direct action to, if you could argue that.
He didn't do what Magic Johnson did. No, he didn't do, and I love Mike. Mike is the GOAT, you know, but when I look at people that do chess moves, it's a different thing. And certain players play chess, and I respect them players a little bit more. Like we talk about LeBron James, me and my son always say, well, LeBron James is the greatest basketball player, and I'd like to know it's Mike because of these reasons. But they always leave hope. And the things that Kobe did, he made people better. Because if you just look at that team after Shaq left, I think he wanted to get rid of Shaq just so you could see how great he was.
Yeah. Well, we know that was Kobe's mentality.
No, because he wanted to be better than Mike. He wanted to be the best ever. And we teach our kids, when we teach our men how to be the best ever, then everything changes. You know, when we teach them how to be a great father, when you are a great father, do you understand that now you are raising men and daughters that are men and women are going to be better for their community? And not only are you a man to your household, you're a man to your son friends who father now. You're a man to neighbor next door because that old lady can't cut her grass. So now you teaching your son how to cut her grass because you want the whole community to be better. That's what Jewish people do. That's what Middle East people do. That's what rich people do. Because rich people, if you get around rich people, they want you to stay rich. They don't want no. So they telling you about things that can make you rich, like that investment. That's a mentality that we need in my circle. That's the only circle I got, and I don't hang with people.
Well, that's what you seem to be doing. So Dennis, check out, in the interest of time, because we were having a little technical issue, I don't want to lose you again. I want to make sure anybody who's watching this can stay locked in. And for the record, If they see anything back and forth, your audio never changed, so your message is still there. And speaking of cutting grass, your neighbor Fred still got a fainting problem?
What you say?
Your neighbor Fred still got a fainting problem? I'll never forget that.
Oh, God. You know what? I don't live in our home no more. But that is Doc. Listen. He was just on Facebook here the other day. I moved on the other side, so he's not my neighbor anymore.
Okay.
But I just, his birthday was on the 8th, and same day as my daughter. So I'm like, to the best neighbor ever. Dude, like, I love him. That's an issue that's always gonna be there. He retired.
I never forget you told me that. I know the people like, what are you talking about? But you hear me like, yeah, Don got a fainting problem.
Man, dude, that shit scared me.
Oh man, I never forget that. Listen, Dennis, let's not make this the last time we talk. I want to be able to stay in touch with you so you can not only share your wisdom about life, about business, but also talking about your movies. And I know you're not all about promotion, but I want to be able to help you like that. So where can people find your catalog? Where can people follow you and kind of be locked into the things you're doing, including your upcoming release of your new movie?
Right now, I'm on, of course, I'm on Facebook, Dennis Reed II. I'm on IG and LinkedIn, Dennis Reed II, at Dennis Reed II. If you get LinkedIn accounts, that's when people take you serious. I didn't know that until my agent told me that, and it makes all the perfect sense, okay?
What was that about your accounts? Say that about that again.
I said, my agent told me I had it on LinkedIn because that's what gets into me.
Yeah, and actually, I'll be posting this on LinkedIn too, so I'll make sure to connect you on that.
Yeah, you gotta have a LinkedIn account if you want those people to take you serious.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, it also means that whatever you put out, you have to clean up to a level of professionalism to be on that platform. Because sometimes we do so much stuff that just probably really wouldn't translate to that. You know.
Right.
So then, before we let you go, can you leave some more inspiring words? You've been dropping jewels since we started recording, but I just want your voice to be the last voice to hear as you wrap up. And actually, my battery's going low, so I ain't on top of my game either. So I don't want to make sure I don't lose you.
Just treat people like you want people to treat your kids, and if you
not treat you, but how you want them to treat your kids.
Yeah. Because sometimes you don't care how they treat you, but you want people to treat your kids right. And if you do that, the world is a lot better place.
Well, you guys heard it here from Dennis Reed II. Support his awesome catalog. Just support this brother and what he's doing. Dennis, I appreciate what you've done, what you will continue to do, and I value our friendship. And